going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now,
Jimothy.
So ladies and gents, we are back with another deck profile, and I thought I'd go through the deck that I took to my most recent OTS championship. Now I know I mentioned this in my most previous market watch, but I didn't really do too well with the deck, mainly because I wasn't actually prepared for the matchups that I actually faced. It was actually crazy what I came up against. There was so much variance in the room, it was unbelievable. But nevertheless, I thought I'd show you an updated profile. Now, I have actually profiled this on the channel most recently, so the list isn't too dissimilar. However, I've made a few changes, and I'll obviously talk about those changes when I get to those cards. So without wasting any more time, ladies and gents, let's get straight into it. So starting us off, obviously we're still running a triple Ecclesia. The Dogmatika engine in of itself is still very small. There's not much in the way of starters. I believe I've got like 9 starters, and I believe I'm running about a 41 or 42 card deck. Just let me know in the comments exactly what number it is. But for Ecclesia, she starts off your whole play, starts off your engine, good going second, good going first, definitely a power card. I wouldn't play any less. The double Fleur de Lis, she does come up, and with the new tech that I'm planning to put into this deck, ladies and gents, I might even boost Fleur de Lis up to 3, depending on what testing's saying. And bit of a spoiler alert: duality, Dragoon, Fleur de Lis, that's all I need to say. But anyway, carrying on, one Dogmatika Maximus, again, just to kind of like facilitate plays. You don't want any more than this, mainly because Maximus is a little bit of a brick in hand, along with these other 2 cards I'm about to show you guys. So the obvious Albazoa, I decided to take out the White Relic of Dogmatika. I know it does help OTK, but I felt like I was relying way too heavily on the ritual part of the deck, which is not a bad thing because it's what the deck was designed to do, but it meant that I was drawing into too many bricks and I couldn't play, and it could have been potential like hand traps or defensive cards. So I decided just to go with the one Dogmatika Albazoa. It's highly searchable, you can get it out of the deck very easily, so I decided to just go for the one. And then I also decided to put in a Dogmatika Nexus. Now, what I've found with this card, it is a bit of a win more card. However, it can come in clutch depending on the situation. Going second, this card is more times than not live, especially if you just facilitate at least 1 or 2 of your plays. You're gonna have Fusion, XYZ, Link, Synchro monsters in either player's graveyard to be able to kind of like facilitate its summoning condition. And then on top of that, it just blows a board up anyway, which is just absolutely crazy. So a definitely interesting card. I wanted to test it. It's very good going second, it's not so good going first, and I drew this like it was the last card in my deck every single time. Like, it was crazy the amount of times I've seen this in my opening hand. Didn't see the ritual, didn't see a ritual spout, just Dogmatika Nexus, which was a little bit of a rip, but hey ho, it is what it is. Carrying on with the Dogmatika engine, we've got triple Dogmatika Matrix. I've seen some people play like 1 of this card. I'll be honest, I like this card at 3. It's a double search depending on if your opponent controls a monster, and with some of the monsters that we've got in our main deck, ladies and gents, this is easily facilitated on turn 1, which is crazy. It can also send a monster from the extra deck to the graveyard, either extra deck to the graveyard if you control a ritual monster. So very powerful card, ladies and gents. Hence why I'm running it at 3. I want to see it in my opening hand, and I'll go for a little bit of a 1-card combo, well, 2-card combo at the end of the deck profile, just to showcase what this card actually does, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, next most powerful card in the deck, triple Nadir Servant. Goes without saying, like, this forces an interaction which, coupled with one of the other cards that I've got in my deck, makes the other card live, which is really good because people know not really to let Nadir Servant resolve just because of how powerful it is. Does lock you out of the extra deck, but hey ho, you've done what you needed to do with the extra deck anyway, so yeah, it's nice. And then finally, for the Dogmatika engine, we've got the 2 ritual spells. More times than not, you're searching Dogmatika Calamity first, and then you're getting Dogmatika Macabre after. So 2 ritual spells. We only play the 1 ritual monster, so you don't need to just basically clog up your deck with extra ritual spells for no reason whatsoever. And then we got 1 Dogmatika Punishment. I did have this at 2. I had 1 of them in the side, but I felt like I was just bricking on it too much. Like, if I seen it in my opening hand, it was a nice little plus, but you seldom want to search this card. This is the whole point of this deck. It's just everything's very searchable and retrievable. So I decided to just play the 1, and it kind of worked out, to be honest. It's kind of like, you facilitate all your other plays before you search for Dogmatika punishment. It's always like a follow-up or even just to get you back into the game. So yeah. Next up, for the other engine I'm playing, obviously we're running the one triple Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. I'm not running Signet Mining because I don't value the discard, and with a Rise Heart in the format, it's a no-brainer basically. I didn't want too many dead cards in my hand. Ibli's obviously a powerhouse. It forces a lot of interaction. It can actually buy you a turn because it forces the battle phase if your opponent hasn't got an out for it. So yeah, definitely a strong card. And the final card is the Iris Sword Soul, making an appearance for the first time ever in a deck that I've actually profiled on the channel. I've been picking up this card just like randomly here and there, and I've actually got 4 copies of it. But this card's actually nice, especially with Lulu Will Live in the extra deck, spoiler alert again. You can just get this straight out of the deck. I never drew this card, which was really good in the OTS tournament. So very, very powerful card. The most effective effects that you're going to use with Iris Sword Soul is the extra deck summon pop, which anytime she was on the field, I always resolved it basically. So very, very powerful card. Next, onto the hand traps, and there are a lot of them. So I played triple Ash Blossom. Excuse me for the mixed matching rarities. It is what it is. Double Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. My ratio is a little bit weird, but you'll see why they are a little bit weird later on in the profile. Double Droll and Lockbird, double Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill, 1 Ghost Overgat, and triple Infinite Impermanence. So we played a lot of hand traps, ladies and gents, and as you can see, there's a lot of flexi spots to be able to just have with this deck. So if you wanted to put another engine in there, you potentially could and just reduce the amount of hand traps that are in there. Or if you wanted to play some more board breakers, again, very, very flexible. You can obviously just facilitate whatever you need just by just mix and matching the hand traps. Next, triple tactics talents. This is the card that I was on about, ladies and gents. So if the Dig Servant gets ashed, more times than not, you're gonna have a talents in your hand, and that was my idea behind putting the 3 talents in, just to be able to resolve it turn 1 and then potentially drawing it to going into turns 3 and 4. It is a board breaker in a sense, but it also can get you back into the game depending on what effect you choose. If my hand was good enough, sometimes I'd go for the hand rip, and I heard someone say the draw 2 is the worst effect. I think it might even have been Distant Coder on one of his like YouTube videos or his live stream. And to be honest, I kind of like agree with that. Like, you draw 2 to get you out of a pinch, but if your hand's good enough, more times than not, you're going for the hand rip. Like, hand knowledge is just so invaluable in this game, and being able to just proc that whenever you want is just crazy. So triple tactics talents. Then for the power 1 hours, we played 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Upstart Goblin. I could actually just take that out completely, but it does play into draw, but then so does half of this deck anyway. So yeah. 1 Call by the Grave, as well as the 1 Crossout Designator. I might actually bump this up to 2, so I've effectively got 3 copies of Call by the Grave. It does sound and work, so it's very, very interesting, and you can obviously resolve both of them in the same turn, so it helps you to kind of like get your searches off, play through hand traps, and establish some kind of board. So that is it for the main deck, ladies and gents. Onto the extra deck, starting with the links. We've got 1 Salamangreat Almirage for when you brick on hand traps, but you still have an Ecclesia in hand, which is just, yeah, it's nice. 1 Secure Gardener, just to get Salamangreat Almirage into the graveyard for your Maximus plays, and then obviously the 1 Lingeribo. Just in case you come against a trap matchup, which, spoiler alert, I did come up against a lot of traps, and it kind of made me think about what I wanted in my side deck. But anyway, onto the synchros, we played double Herald of Arclight. Again, we've only got 1 ritual monster in the deck, as well as the 2 ritual spells, so you don't need to max out on Herald of the Arclight. You probably will resolve 1 and then potentially 1 more depending on what your hand's saying. We also ran the 1 Cyframe Lord Omega, goes without saying, just yeah, it's just a nice card. The 1 Cosmic Blazar Dragon, 1 for the levels, 2 for the 4000 attack as a nice Dogmatika punishment target. The 1 Golden Cloud Beast Malong. I like this card. This card's nice. It bounces a card when it gets sent to the graveyard, so very, very powerful card. And then obviously the 1 Despian Lulu Lilith. This is nice because it can summon Ecclesia or it can summon the Iris Sword Soul. So you do have a little bit of flexibility, especially if you don't get to dump Titanic Clad off your various extra deck dumping options. So 1 Lulu Lilith was nice. Potentially would play 2 of it, to be honest, just because you do have Ecclesia in the deck to be able to help resolve it. And then onto the fusions, we played the double Titanic Clad, again, nice, goes without saying, as well as the triple Outer Entity Entis. Yeah, this effectively is one of the most aggressive cards. This helps pop back row, floodgate, all that kind of stuff. Triggers on being sent to the graveyard, so yeah. And then we played the one Garura, Wings of Resonant Life. Again, just a nice little draw target, nice Dogmatika Punishment target, or even the Nadir Servant target. And then whilst we're here, ladies and gents, I will go through the side deck. So we had the double Cosmic Cyclone. The reason why I went for Cosmic, and I wish for this event that I didn't, is because I wanted something that I could chain. Obviously, Perlili or Pirelli, or however you want to pronounce it, is in the format. So having Cosmic Cyclone for their field spell or for their continuous spell is very, very nice. It didn't actually work out the way I wanted it to. But nonetheless, it is a card. I did fear Runics as well, hence why I put the two Cosmic Cyclones in, so yeah. Triple evenly matched, this is a staple, ladies and gents, goes without saying. I also played the double Raigeki, which definitely came up. I absolutely obliterated, I think I was playing somebody who was playing Pendulums, and Raigeki just went hard. Like, after I baited a couple of his spell negates, I just Raigeki his field and then attack for game, because it's very, very easy to OTK in this deck, ladies and gents. We play the one Dino Wrestler Pancratops, very, very nice. The double Dimension Barrier, potentially could bump this up to 3 and drop the Pancratops, but I just like a Pank. As well as the double Secret Village and the one Terraforming. Again, I put this in mainly because of Runic. I was scared of Runic and I thought, you know what, they're going to be everywhere, as well as Sky Strikers, but unfortunately I didn't come up against either, which hurt my life to no end. And then we also played the double Gadala. Again, potentially could bump this up to 3, just because Kashira is still a deck, so yeah, is what it is. And that is it, ladies and gents, for the profile. Like I said, it's a bit of an updated list. I am going to make some changes to the list. Again, Duality is definitely a card, and being able to kind of like summon Dragoon on your opponent's turn is nice, backed up with the fact that you've probably wiped out half of your opponent's extra deck by then, so yeah. But anyway, I'm going to get you into a quick 2-card combo that you typically can do with this deck, so I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, ladies and gents, we are back. Okay, so in terms of the 2-card combo, there's a few variations of it, but basically all you need is Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, as well as access to either Dogmatika Matrix, Ecclesia, or even Nadir Servant. So those are all your starters. So obviously you're going to start off with your Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. And then you're going to link your Ibli off into the Salamangreat Almirage, triggering Ibli and then giving it to your opponent. I'm just going to put it here so you can see it, ladies and gents. So Almirage is on the field. You're then going to obviously go into Secure Guard. Now, just in case you decide to, I'll put that here. Just in case you decide to get a Maximus on field. So Secured Gardener's on the field now, ladies and gents. Then you can activate your Dogmatika Matrix. And now because your opponent controls a monster in your Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, your Dogmatika Matrix can actually search 2 cards. So it depends on how you want to do it, depending on what you've got in your hand. So typically you're going to search Ecclesia most definitely. Let me find that. Search Ecclesia, and then your other search is obviously for either the ritual spell or the ritual monster. I tend to go for the spell, just because drawing into the monster is a little bit easier, to be honest, because you can actually get it a couple of ways, which I'll show you. So now we can actually go for our Ecclesia. So special summon Ecclesia, activate as Ecclesia's effect. Ecclesia will then search you a Dogmatika card, which in this case we are going to go for our Albazoa. And you can see how efficient this deck is, ladies and gents. So then we're going to activate Dogmatika Calamity, summoning our Albazoa by dumping our Lulu Lilith. Conveniently, she is a level 12, which is nice. So dump the Lulu Lilith. And then we can activate Albazoa's effect. In fact, we'll put him in defense position. Makes sense to put him in defense because they're going to crash the Ibli into Secure Guard now. So we activate Albazoa's effect, just ripping 7 cards out of your opponent's extra deck. Then, Dogmatika Lamb is in the grave. Then you can activate Dogmatika Matrix. Now, it depends where you want to go with this. Typically, you could send another card from your opponent's deck to the grave. if you've seen what they're on and you've seen them dump a couple of cards, you could potentially rip a crucial card. So again, if you're playing against Sprite, I'd probably try and get rid of a Gigantic, make sure all the Gigantics have gone, and then obviously you can just negate the Spring with whatever else I've got in my hand, or you can send one card from your own extra deck. So typically, Dogmatika Matrix, I would dump the Titanic Lad. And that is it, ladies and gents. Now, you've seen how many hand traps I play, and you've seen that we've got infinite impermanence, we've got loads of cards that we can set, but this is just basically off 2 cards. So then at the end phase, you've got 2 effects. So it's up to you which way you trigger them. So you can add yourself a Fleur de Lis off the Titanic Lad, and then you can special summon straight onto the deck, if I can find it, there she is, the Iris Sword Soul. So right here, you've got a negate in Fleur de Lis, you've got Iris Sword Soul, which is a pop, you've got all your Dogmatika monsters unaffected by the activated effects of extra deck monsters. That's anywhere, ladies and gents, hand, field, graveyard, well, hand obviously not. And then you've got obviously a non-targeting negate with Fleur de Lis. So very, very interesting board. Again, if it's backed up by a couple of hand traps, you are chilling. And then obviously for follow-up, you've still got Dogmatika Matrix on field. So should your Albazoa survive, you can obviously just dump another Titanic Lad off it and insert your Ecclesia, or depending on what you've got in your hand, go for the OTK. And in terms of the damage, ladies and gents, put these 3 cards into attack position, you've got more than well over 8,000 attack, especially with Fleur de Lis in hand, which is going to buff all of your Dogmatika monsters. So that is more than enough for game. And it's interesting because this deck goes so well going second, and that was my idea behind it. But what happened was I ran into so many trap decks. I played like Owdlich with a Runic package, I played Trap Tricks, I played Labyrinth. Like, there was just so much back row, ladies and gents. It just blew my mind. Like, typically when I go to the OTS events, it's a little bit of a varied bag, but there was a heavy control element, and I think it's just people just experimenting with some other decks. So it was something to keep in mind, and I think Lightning Storm is definitely going to go in the side for those moments, because against Labyrinth I was struggling, against Trap Tricks I was struggling, so definitely worth keeping in mind. But anyway, that is it, ladies and gents. We find ourselves at the end of another video. As always, if you did enjoy this content, you know what to do by now. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all of that beautiful good stuff, and I would definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.